Okay, we're finding the perimeter of this, and for two of the three sides of this triangle, it's super easy. You can just count them. You can say this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because it's right on the grid lines. So as long as it's right on the grid lines, then we can just count the units. Okay, so in this direction, we're saying how many units this way? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that is 8 units in that direction. Oops. Okay. Now we need to find this one. And the reason that we just can't count this one is because it's not going along the grid line, so we don't have perfect single units. We got diagonal boxes that you can't count the units that way. So we could do the distance formula, and we would need the coordinates of the point. The distance formula is square root of x2 minus x1 squared, that distance in the x direction. x2 minus x1 will give you that number. That is how far did you go from here to here, that change in that, squared, plus y2 minus y1 squared, which is the change in this direction. And then once you square them both and add them together, you square root the whole thing. Okay? Here's the thing. That is directly related to a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So this is really c. If this was c squared equals a squared plus b squared, okay, then we could say, okay, what if we wanted to square root both sides? Then we would just get c over here, right? Just like that, the distance. C, that length here is the distance between those 2 points. So you're finding out the distance between those 2 points, or that length of c, by taking the square root of one side squared plus the other side squared. Okay, so if we go back again here, what we're saying here is this is the change in x. That's what you get there. So you could do that a squared. This is the change in y, the change in this direction. That's what you get when you do y2 minus y1. Okay, so that squared, that's what this is, that squared. That squared plus that squared equals that squared. Well, you don't want to know what that squared is, so instead of having that distance squared, you square root both sides. And then you just say, then the distance is the square root of that. So I think it's easier to just do a squared plus b squared equals c squared here. And let's do that instead. Okay, so we would say, we know that c squared will be a squared, let's say 6 squared, doesn't matter where the legs are, one is one, one is the other, plus 8 squared. So you get c squared is equal to 36 plus 64, or c squared is equal to, those two added together equals 100. And so if you square root of both sides, you would get c is equal to 10. We know that that length right there then is 10. Got it? So now what are they asking for? They're asking for what's the perimeter. The perimeter is the distance around the outside. So if we went this distance around the outside, let's say from C all the way around back to C, we'd go 6 plus 8, which is 14, plus another 10, which is 24. It's 24 units to go around this triangle. These were easy. We could count them. These we had to calculate. And since it's a perfect right triangle, we know that because it follows the grid lines for the 2 legs, we can then say that squared plus that squared equals that squared to calculate the length of that side, and then add this plus this together. And we get as an answer, since it is 6 plus 8 is 14, plus 10 is 24, we've got an answer of 24 units. We're done.